Hi everyone, and welcome to the third video in my series here at the Secret Garden of Louth. Yes, we've come back on a mid-September day, not one of those glorious autumn days. Today it's definitely a little bit more on the grey and drizzly side, but it's still an amazing day to experience this truly fantastic garden. In my first video, you saw the garden in spring. The focus was very much on the hardy exotics, the structural plants, and the fantastic flowers and bulbs brought in for early season interest. I then came again in late July and saw a fantastic explosion of summer flowers, amazing foliage. The garden is set out for summer and ready for the NGS openings in August. But now those are finished, the visitors have gone, but the plants are still kept growing. Yes, we're here for a peak jungle garden tour. The big leaf plants are at their truly biggest and the best right now. The garden really is an absolute celebration of huge plants, big jungle leaves, and everything that I love about tropical style gardening. In today's video, you're going to see some really exciting plants. There's some that I've never heard of, and one that Jenny's treated herself to recently, which, let's say, it's certainly a bit of a rarity. I'm sure you'll love that. So get your plant notebooks out, sit back, and I hope you enjoy this third and final visit this year to the Secret Garden of Louth. A big thanks to Jenny and Rodger for the time helping make these videos, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. So Jenny, the jungle path is certainly looking a little bit different this time. Lead the way, you're braver than me, and we'll see some of these incredible exotic plants. You really have to push your way through,
all the tendrils coming.
This is cinnamon vine.
Cinnamon vine, yeah, and it's really, actually they've all grown out that way. So maybe it needs more light than I anticipated, but look, it's got great big...
fantastic leaves on it, haven't they?
Really, look at that.
Wow.
It wants to be climbing. And
a true jungle plant.
Yeah, so next year I'll have to try and do better things with it. Now it's getting some size to it.
I mean, this is a little bit crazy now, isn't it?
Look, it's lovely. This is the variegated Sparmania. And
wow.
It's eventually rocketed up and managed to get past other things. So... yeah, it's survival
crazy.
Of the fittest in this garden all the way round.
It really is, and I know I'm going to have a problem with this video in terms of showing the scale of everything. So if we just keep walking right through here and look back, I think we need to show some of these amazing big leaf beauties behind us. Look at some of these. I mean, the height, that must be 13, 14 foot up there.
Easily.
What's the one with the large leaves in at the back there?
The tallest
really
one?
Tall one, yeah.
The Podocynum eminens, is it?
Wow.
And it's just gone like
amazing.
A rocket this year. It really seems to like it.
that is incredible. I mean, just the size of everything. I was here late July, and now we're, well, not even quite 2 months later, but the size of everything is ridiculous. And the solanum.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It was a self-seeded one last year, and I think I don't think it's in the ground. I think it's in a big container there that Ensete is planted in. And I left it in over winter. I thought, please yourself, live or die. Yeah. And
it certainly lived.
It lived. And it's just gone like a rocket, gone sky high. I can't believe it. Loads of fruits on it, because so they'll be dead easy. You don't need to faff around with propagators for those seed.
No, I remember you talked about how easy it was to grow them.
Yeah, you just mush them up in the ground, or if you want to know where they are, in a pot or something, leave them outside. They're late to germinate, but they usually do.
Wow. It's certainly made up for the growth later in the season. And as we pan round, I mean, this garden, people remember this area. We looked at the pots last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
Earlier in the spring, we looked at the shade planting, the delicate shade planting. But now everything is very much supersized, isn't it?
Not very delicate now.
No. So we are at the back end of the season. The garden's just about to, we'll say, cross that hill, isn't it? Yeah. But, I mean, there's some flowers that really look the best right now. So what's that one up there? Ipomea?
Well, I know it's changed names, but I know it as Ipomea liarii.
Oh.
Something has changed, but it's still an Ipomea. And it's a perennial one. But it's
that's interesting.
So it has to be frost-free for winter, this one.
Right.
But the leaves get so big, and then those stunning flowers.
So have you grown that as like an annual this spring then, or is it?
No, we've had it a couple of years,
right,
actually.
okay.
In fact, more than a couple of years. And we bring it out each year. I've often put it in just where we've walked through, but really it doesn't get seen. So I thought, if I put it there, somebody might notice it.
Yeah, well, I'll just walk through. I've certainly noticed it.
It's a case of whether they look up or not, you know.
Well, that is one thing about your garden, and something you tell your guests. They need to look up, don't they, to see some of the beauties. But it's not just looking up. That Phytolacca down there, that's really vibrant, exotic looking, isn't it? I remember seeing those over at Thwaite Gardens really looking beautiful plant. And you said that's just appeared there, a bird's dropped it.
Yeah. They seed around, those berries, you know, they go everywhere. They can be a menace for some people.
Well, yeah.
But, you know, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't want it there, just pull it out.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Beautiful Fatsia there. And this, the Roldana, is it, this one?
Roldana petasitis, yeah.
That looks
It's just
truly
amazing,
fantastic,
isn't it?
doesn't it?
I mean, there's just really sort of tactile somehow.
Yeah. There's a lot of your plants here that you really appreciate the sort of textures and the finishes and the different forms, don't you? And plants like that are just absolutely stunning. And that's really what I want to feature in today's video, the sort of more unusual foliage plants that are the biggest and the best right now. And I can guarantee there'll be some plants in here that people watching this won't be growing.
I've just spotted a Brugmansia that hasn't got lace curtain leaves now. Look at that, it's kept its... They get worse as we go down for some reason. I don't know why, but
so we probably should say it's been quite a cool summer for people who aren't in the UK or can't remember this year. And we've had quite a few windy days in early September, haven't we, back end of August. So it's very much a garden that's now clinging on, but some of the plants have just looked splendid considering that. The Talia dilbata over there in that pot, you said that's really performed for you this year, didn't you?
Yeah, really gone well, yeah. And people actually did notice the flowers on it. They were quite a dark purple and white looking bits. I don't know, they were tiny but quite attractive, you know.
Definitely, and your pots are obviously still going strong, aren't they? Your tried and tested mixture, the Coleus or Solenistemum or whatever they want to call themselves now, like Tranthus, whatever they are, they really look fantastic, don't they?
Yeah.
No, that's lovely. But I think what people really want to see is the jungle. And
look at this, even climbing through the roof now. Look, because we're well, me especially, a bit more vertically challenged, so I don't notice it, but you will.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be very careful where I stand with this. And there's been a lot of work going on in your garden recently, so I'll be a little bit careful where I step. But we'll see some of your future projects and plans very shortly. But for now, I mean, this is such an amazing jungle view. And I mean, first off, this Colocasia, that jumps out at me. Which one is this?
It's Fontanesii.
I love those dark stems and also that glossiness. So
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it has to come in for winter, but from experience, we found it one of the easiest to overwinter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's pretty reliable, where some are really picky.
They really are,
The more
aren't they?
fancy they are, the harder they are.
That is something I've said in my videos, and I have to probably say it in a sort of negative way, like don't try these. But when you find one like this that grows, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
The Catinus is absolutely taken off now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone berserk. It's really berserk, actually. I'm sure it grows another 6 inches every day. But
it's actually handy having you for scale as we walk around the garden. Make everything look completely massive. Not that it isn't.
But yeah, it's climbed right the way across, maybe out through there. I chop all those right back to the trunk though. Yeah. When it's done for next year, and then it'll grow like this again. And you know, if you that one's got, I thought they were buds, but they're done. I don't know if I can get in there. We can see there's a Trachycarpus one day that'll be up in the sky.
Oh yeah, we've got young Trachycarpus there. We've got the Schefflera macrophylla.
Yeah.
We've got a Hydrangea aspera in there, haven't we?
Yeah, I love the leaves.
Bit of everything. And if it was something that I took from your video, or the video I did with you in summer, it was that plants like this Catinus, obviously they're not exotic as such, but they're fitting so well, and it must be handy having plants that you can just hack back that just grow so vigorously and complete the jungle vibe. And as we were talking about before we started filming, you can't have a jungle without the plants that tower over you, can you?
Yeah, you can't. Well, for my opinion, it can't be jungle if it's too pristine and neat and tidy. That said, mine was like that when it was younger. So, you know, you put things in and it all looks perfectly, but then it'll grow and the whole place transformed and the plants transformed. They're not so pristine and neat as they were.
Yeah.
And you have to move stuff, you know, so you've got, your plants often need to have their running shoes on, you know.
Definitely. No, I understand what you're saying. And I mean, obviously, it's not a prescriptive style of gardening. There's tropical gardening, there's exotic gardening, there's jungle gardening. You can do what you want, but I think it's really interesting to see how your garden's changed through the year. So in spring, it was very much we've got the palms, we've got the hardy structural exotics, and then there was a lot of hellebores, different, you know.
Yeah, you could see through,
plants.
Couldn't you?
Well, you could see through, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't now.
No, this was a sort of lonely island there with a few palms on it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then in summer, it was very much about the colours for me. So a lot of the the hardy impatiens in the college have just gone out, haven't they?
Yeah, it's in more shade here. I think it's drained colour here.
It's just starting to fade, isn't it, as they do, and a lot of the other plants, is it Saramatum?
Yes, they well, that one is plonked in a pot, but which you couldn't see when they were up here.
Yeah, but just getting to that tail end of the season.
Just find, heck, there's a gap.
Yeah. A couple of plants that have certainly put out the big leaves this year. Tetrapanax. Let's see that next to you for scale. There we go. I mean, just look at the size of those leaves. They're really, really huge. It's such a dramatic plant, and yours is starting to flower now, isn't it? As they tend to at the back end of the season. It's always a gamble, isn't it, as to whether you get to see the flowers or not.
That branched. It's off the main one up there, and the original one is. Then we've got 2 branches coming off up there. And it's doing the same as the other. Yeah. Some of them they seem to send up runners, and they're all single stemmed, but
you never really know what sort of form you're going to get.
No.
But in terms of plants that
like a tree.
Yeah, this Ricinus. We've had such a cool grey summer. How have you got them to grow so big? I
sing to them at night.
That's obviously what the key is. I did say to Rodger, have you been feeding these light? And he said, no, haven't fed these, hardly fed them. And I'll believe him on this occasion. So it's the singing that's the magic trick, isn't it?
With all the winds we had, there was a lot of jiggery pokery had to go on to.
Yeah. I've seen some of the plants that have been propped up, but it's amazing really that a tropical garden can look so good, or any kind of exotic garden, after the weather that we've had. And obviously looking up here, we've got the crab apples starting to appear now. We've got the holly tree starting to bear its berries. So the seasons are definitely turning now.
Look at the state of my roof from the pigeons. Me and pigeons have fallen out, I'm afraid.
Oh dear, oh dear.
They've stolen my roof.
Oh dear, we can't have that, can we? We can't have that. But I mean, heading through here, I mean, this what a view. It really is amazing. I mean, you're almost speechless at how big the plants are. I mean, for example, the Paulownia, that is a monster right now, isn't it?
Yeah, should I stand there?
I think we need you to stand next to that leaf at the far side if you can. You might need to step ladder. So there's Jenny. You're just a hair under 6 foot, aren't you?
5'2".
5'2", and this Paulownia. It's definitely a little bit taller than you, isn't it?
Yeah.
The leaves are absolutely huge on it. I mean, that one at the back there.
That one at the back.
Yeah,
is a monster,
keep trying to show people.
It's really.
It is ginormous.
It's like a T-Rex leaf almost, isn't it? Oops.
Yeah, no,
well, except for I just tore a bit off.
Yeah, don't worry. It is such an amazing plant, and this is one where, in that first video in spring, the first part of the series, we saw just two insignificant buds, didn't we?
They bud up. You saw it off. You grit your teeth and wait for it to bud up, thinking, "Oh, have I killed it?" And then you choose 2 that look like they're going in the direction you want them, or even 1. Some people.
Yeah.
And rub the rest off, and away it goes. Look. That's
wow.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
It really is sensational, isn't it? That you can get something like this over just a summer.
Yeah. It's
ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to grasp in your mind, really, that can happen so quickly.
It is indeed. And here we've got the Ensete. Is that Morelia, that one, or is that a Monty? I think it's the Morelia, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we put the Monties. There's a Monty up there.
Yeah. Let's just pan around and show people that one. Your neighbours are obviously busy with their garden projects as well, but you're very much on with them here, which we'll see shortly. I mean, this now is such a sort of full packed garden, and I think it shows a little bit about restraint, doesn't it? Like here, there's only really a few large plants, given the impact, isn't there? So
yeah, it's no good planting anything delicate and small. It's no good us buying tiny plants now, really, because this is what happened. I mean, the Miscanthus is actually planted. Where is it? Over there somewhere.
Right over there.
And it just creeps and grows up to find the light, and then you get, these enormous long stems that go
sort of winding the way through,
all the way through everything.
So this is Miscanthus major.
It is.
And if you haven't grown it before, it's got the most amazing sort of glaucous blue and the scent. That's what I was going to say. A real sort of. Do you get a peanut buttery kind of scent to it, or do you get something different?
I don't know. It just smells like Miscanthus major.
Right. Okay, there we go. I'm not very helpful to people watching it.
Maybe there's a hint of peanutty smell in there.
That's what I get anyway. And here, this Ricinus, this is New Zealand purple. Is it this one, or New Zealand giant, purple giant? One of those.
Yeah, it would have been, because I hadn't got red giant this year, so it will be one of the lower growing. It was when I grew them. It was probably No, I didn't grow Carmencita. It'd be a New Zealand purple, I think.
Right,
But
okay.
obviously one that didn't grow very big at the start, you know, they always vary from seed, don't they?
They do indeed.
But, you know, even those aren't as big as I've had them in other years.
No. I think we've had them sort of, well, at home sort of maybe 8, 9, pushing 10 foot on a really good year.
There's one over there that's maybe taller. But yeah, but it's...
So, sorry if I've chosen the one that hasn't grown quite as you wanted it to.
Oh, it's all right.
No.
But I'm just saying, the thing is that they will vary each year.
Absolutely.
You just don't know how they're going to perform.
So presumably you've fed your garden quite regularly all the way through summer, have you?
Certain plants Rodger feeds, yeah. He always feeds the ferns and the big ferns and little ferns, you know.
Yeah. It really is looking so jungly right now.
I had to cut some leaves off this year because people couldn't sit under it.
No, I'll sit down to try to actually show people.
It's nice to sit under, you know, keeps the sun off and the rain off as well.
It's amazing. Don't you just find every single year, it really just astonishes you how big things get. You know they're going to get big, but then they get even bigger, don't they?
And I've been really good this year and not chopped off my fronds, you know, after listening to you and Mark. I thought, okay, I'll give it a go, see if I can stand it. And I have, but they're dropping right down now. But
I think once you get to that stage, you can probably remove them, can't you? Without any
but I thought, well,
worries.
Do you know what? The way everything else is so big, when your garden is younger, and it does, I agree, it can look tatty. It looks like something you forgot to deadhead or whatever. But now everything is so much bigger and it's so jungly. It's almost in keeping to have these how they would be in the wild.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I'm going to leave them there.
Oh,
but
no.
But it's good for the head of the tree fern to let them drop.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'd
down,
assume so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Well, that's what they all say anyway, so.
Oh, fantastic. But there's no time for sitting around. Let's get up and show people. I mean, I wanted to focus on some really unusual plants. I mean, this Schefflera here, that's a lovely one, isn't it? With
Trapezoides.
Yeah. That one you were saying it's a tender Schefflera.
Yeah, it'll have to come in. I can't leave that planted out.
It's certainly got an unusual colour to it, hasn't it? It's more of a lime green than
well, I think it will darken up a bit. Look, the lower ones, they're a bit darker. They're lighter when they first come and gradually mature to a darker
still a lovely
colour.
Lush green, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's really, this year it's really finally decided to flash, and it was looking pitiful, and I thought, no, come on, pull your socks up, you know.
And it's pulled its socks up, hasn't it? All the nightly singing.
And I can't believe how much growth this has put on.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing this back in spring, and it was a tiny. I remember looking down there and going, "Yeah, the red colour on the petioles really ties in nicely with
something else down there, wasn't it?" And
with
now,
the cordyline.
Look at it; it's taller than me again now. The top of the flush, you know,
so
not the trunk. But
this is the thing with Scheffleras like Taiwaniana.
That is,
as long as you buy a strong plant, they can put so much growth on every year, can't they? They soon get big, and you don't need to pay over the odds for a large one.
And we've always had decent soil, and we've improved it with horse muck and goodness knows what over the years.
Well,
so.
I might even show people some of the horse muck.
Oh yes,
the amount that you've got on the go.
I mean, these give a good feel to a jungly garden. The Setaria, we lift those and bring them in. A lot easier than trying to lift this baby.
Oh yeah,
we got to dig these up. Well, Rodger will.
Rodger is a superhero,
I'll
isn't
be there
he?
cutting the leaves off and
taking pictures to your Facebook page. Plants like this ginger over here, which is now in full flower, as I try not to spring those leaves back in your face. I mean, how amazing does this look? Persicaria, Hedychiums.
It's getting ready for a chop back now.
It's just getting to that point, isn't it, where, you know, a few more weeks and you'll be wanting to start tidying.
I can't stand this anymore, then off it goes. But this has bulked up really well. This is another hardy
Which one's that
ginger,
one?
Hung Fung Stripe.
Oh yes, I remember
last year it was only a young plant, and we did get a flower, and it's stunning. We've got one in flower up near the.
We'll see that on the way back through. Yes.
And another one at the bottom garden, but this hasn't flowered this year, so I don't know if it's because every year changes.
It does, yeah.
So.
Usually when people ask about Hedychiums not flowering and not put on a magnificent display, it tends to either be not enough sun, doesn't it? Not enough summer heat, or they're just not old enough, they're not established enough to really get going.
This one seems to flower fairly youngish, really.
Yeah.
But
this one is absolutely incredible, isn't it? Which is this one? Is this Helen Dillon or is it?
Yeah, I bought one as Helen Dillon and one as Forestii, but Nick Mesa says a lot of the Forestii are actually Helen Dillon. They do both look exactly the same. You couldn't tell one from the other.
it's just amazing. I think for me, having visited 3 times through the year, seeing how different roles change for plants. So like the Daphnophyllum in spring, that was such a star in this part of the garden, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the big acacia up there, that was, yeah, that was flowering away. And then when I came last time, it was probably more of the persicarias and a few of the sort of bright summer flowers. Now at this time of the year, it's a real jungle, exotic tropical plants that have just filled out so much, and you get views like this appearing where it's just like a plantolic's dream, isn't it? There's everything here. That's that big magnolia in the middle.
This one?
Yeah. Was this that as a subspecies one?
Yeah, it's a long name. Crossacii,
Yeah.
cross
Maybe
this and
featured
cross
it last
that.
time, but it looks just as dramatic now as it did.
The leaves are starting. See, it's autumn.
Wow.
They're going.
Everything's supersized here,
And
isn't it?
I love.
Oh, yes.
I love.
So if we push through here.
Look at the stems, even if it never. It's crabby to look at the leaves on the top, but I mean, it's a Dendroceras.
The cabbage tree, isn't
Cabbage
it?
tree. I bet that's
terms.
changed names.
Yeah, probably will have, yeah.
But look at that. I mean,
It is such a curiosity, isn't it?
yeah. And the leaves look crabby now, but often that happens with plants when they flower. And this is the first year we've had flowers.
Yes.
Can you see them?
Yeah, yeah. Very subtle, very orange, or yellowy orange, but you wouldn't grow it for the flowers, but
No.
it's still a real curiosity,
They're
isn't it?
beautiful. The leaves, I think they look so lush, and the leaves are brilliant when they're younger, but that's like a lot of these plants. The best foliage is when they're young.
Oh, yeah,
But so long as you can appreciate the stem after the foliage isn't so good, then you're onto a winner.
Definitely. And I think, as we were talking about before we started filming, if you want a jungle garden, you can't be afraid of the real unusual plants, can you? The plants that sort of wind around, the plants that just sort of find their own way to the light. And I mean, that Paulownia, just looking back at that it's colossal. It just stands out. Probably see it from Google Earth, can't you? That thing
But what's been up there
huge.
chomping on that one? Look,
Yeah, I did ask Rodger, is that the wind or has it been something eating
I'm
it?
not
But
sure, really.
you're not got any local giraffes around, have you? So definitely something big. But no, I don't know what it is. That could be anything, I suppose. But
Oh, and below it, look, with the Rodana cristabalensis.
so we walked right past that, didn't we?
Yeah.
So as always, this isn't a video with any kind of structure or plan. It was just very much a, let's look at the plants that look amazing after a full summer's growth. And that one, that really is a special plant, isn't
Lovely
it?
maroon, hairy stems, and the back of the leaves, look, is maroon as well.
Wow.
And the green is much darker than the plain
Yeah.
Rodana petasitis, Rodana cristabalensis, but
That's the beauty,
whereas the
isn't
other
it?
one can stay out and it's pretty hardy, and when it
Yeah.
has been killed off, it's come again from the ground, so
Yeah.
it's obviously root hardy. We can't do that. We'll have to lift
Right.
this.
So it's another plant that,
Yeah.
as we featured in our early videos, your garden is very much a collection of some hardy exotics, a lot of seasonal colour, and then there's a lot of tender plants, isn't there, that need to be brought inside. But you've definitely introduced some new plants to the garden this year that we'll see shortly.
Yeah. Oh, we've got flowers coming on here. Look.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this from a tiny plant, the Mahonia.
Is it
Soft caress,
Yeah.
I've got a different variety up there now, but yeah, I thought this was hardy, was tender for a long time.
Really? Yeah. It's amazing how quickly people's views change, isn't it? Just someone says, "Oh, I've got away with it this mild winter," and then suddenly it's a a hardy plant.
I've had to
and
cut this back
unproven.
once or twice because it's coming right out
Yeah.
here. But flowers starting to form already on it. But yeah, I love it. I love the foliage.
And
of
there's
that.
a practical tip for people, plants like soft caress, look at the size plants get to, because you might buy it in a 2-litre pot and think it's a nice, cute little plant, but it will get to probably about 1.5 metres square, won't it, essentially?
Yeah, it's going right the way around.
Yeah, so even though
over
it's a compact Mahonia, it is still a Mahonia that wants to take up a fair bit of space, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can chop them back.
Oh,
But
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
I mean, you won't want to be doing that on a regular basis,
No, no.
trying to keep it as a miniature because the plant would suffer probably.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it's starting to flush again there now. Look on this one. Look,
That's
there's a new flush coming on there.
subtly beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which subtlety isn't really one of the key words to your garden, but
No.
this ginger over here, this is something that I saw first in your garden in the summer video, and then over again at Thwaite Gardens. Do you know which variety this one is?
Spice
It's
Island.
not. Is it Spice Island? So it's the same one I saw at Thwaite
It
Gardens
is.
then.
Yeah.
I love
mean, my
those.
original one is at the other end, and I think it's completely gone over now, which was the first one I got
right,
with
okay.
a different colour one.
But
Then-
with this one being a bit more shade, it's probably come out a bit late, has it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
This,
really
I don't know why I
stunning
keep
plant.
this really, but I do.
So do you find yourself sort of planting things and then a few years down the line realise they don't give you that same sort of buzz. And then
Yeah,
it's a
well,
case of,
in the pictures, the flower looked rather bigger than that and quite stunning. And now
right, okay.
it's actually pathetic. So in this garden now, it's got to earn its keep.
Yeah.
Do you know? So
everything has to earn its keep continually,
yeah,
doesn't it, every single year?
You know, those yellow flowering ones I showed you, they might end. But that
right, okay.
said,
we might see those shortly.
Having said that, this plant here will have to be dug up and come in. And,
Did you say that was some kind of asparagus?
It is, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, it's one of those, and it doesn't like going below 5, I think. So
wow.
That'll get dug up. But people always used to notice that, and it hasn't grown as well this year as it previously has. And I think because everything else matured around it, so it's not getting what it used to get before.
So this is something I think as your garden sort of develops over time, a lot of the plants that have been in the ground that maybe sit still for a few years, they suddenly just go, wow, don't they? Like this Persicaria, that's filling up an area now that's definitely about 1.5 meters square again.
Tough as old boots.
Yeah. No, they are. I guess really when you're growing a lot of the tropical stuff, it's not about shrubs, it's about those plants that just fill up a space every single year, get bigger and bigger, but just give so much impact and volume for, very little effort.
Yeah,
not
and the colours on it, and it does has when it does flower, I have seen it flower, and again, it has a bit like the filiformis flower, but the colours are nice, and with the colours in the leaves as well, the autumn colours.
Which one is this one again?
Virginiana.
Virginiana is this one. Compton's form.
That's it.
And even up here, this little secluded pathway, we've got huge bananas, that glorious maple now, just starting to turn.
Yeah.
It's all about layering and canopy, isn't it? Like any successful jungle garden. And
I'm rather fond of this Persicaria as well. I think this time of year that is such a vivid, stunning colour, like little globules, little balls of flowers on this one, and big round leaves. And actually, if it was in a sunnier spot, you start to see some nice autumn colour in the big leaves, to be honest. I noticed one in a pot the other day and I thought, oh, that looks lovely.
Which is something to appreciate even in a tropical style garden, isn't it?
But again, it looks jungly because of how it grows, you know what I mean? It's just...
Everything looks jungly here.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to push over here. I'm going to show people something that you probably don't want them to see. But this is one of the tricks, isn't it, behind it all?
Yeah.
Yeah, horse manure, that is what makes like this fast growth. So, your Ricinus here, there's no wonder that they're 5-6 foot tall when other people's are only about 3 foot. It's all about improving the soil, isn't it?
Yeah.
And ultimately, you're trying to support a lot of vegetation here, so you have to put the work in with the watering and soil improvement, don't you?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
This area is looking as fantastic as it did in spring, isn't it?
Yeah,
still green, still
one
lush.
of those is like calmer areas, isn't it? And
yeah,
so
definitely.
that Taiwaniana's is starting to flower again. Look.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, haven't pulled the yellow leaves off, but never mind.
No, it doesn't matter, does it? A bit of autumnal interest, isn't it? We'll say. But see, again, that's a typical sort of jungle plant. The way it's not just go straight up and be like a nice lollipop. It just wants to grow wherever it wants to grow. It's had some damage, hasn't it, to the main stem, and it's split up. But it looks all the better for it.
But that makes it better. That it's given it a head. Once it got frost damage to the main growing tip, and then instead of it going straight up like a stick, well, it was a curvy stick because it was coming out and reaching for the light. But because of the damage, it split. So it's branched.
So you get even more leafy
interest.
interest.
And then once they branch, they will flower.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I didn't realise that was the sort of correlation there.
Yeah.
That's
I was only told that the other year. So.
Oh, I guess it does make sense that a lot of plants, when they're stressed, they tend to flower, don't they? Yeah. So if a plant's flowering for you, it either means you've done your job really well, or the plant is on the edge of life, isn't it?
Final thing. But it's once it's branched. So it was made to branch because it got burnt off in the weather.
Right.
Once they branch. This was Robert Desert to Jungle told me.
Yeah, right. Well, in that case, it's on good.
Once it's branched is when they will start to flower.
Ah, fantastic. So, I mean, just looking back through here, there's every kind of foliage you want to see, isn't there? From all different Persicarias, which certainly make up the bulk of this part of the garden. Obviously, the dahlias now are sort of fading away, aren't they, into the sort of background?
Falling away. I was
yeah.
very remiss with doing this border this year. I wasn't on top of getting dahlias in time. So I messed up this year on that. But hey ho, you can't get it right. Oh, there was a lot of hemerocallis here that was lovely, but obviously they've all finished now. The dahlia that was there has gone and fallen forward. We've run out of stands, and
once again the Ricinus taking centre stage, whether you wanted to or not.
Yeah. but I just love the colours of
Oh,
it.
no, I do. Did you say this one's Grace, this one, or is this
Yes,
one? Yeah.
this is Grace. I don't know what the other one is, but look when the light shines through that. And as the autumn progresses, the colours in that is amazing.
Oh, I know. It's one of those plants, whenever I go to a garden centre in autumn and I see it, I think, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And I've been on the fence, but as soon as I get an area where I can just put it and let it do its thing, I just love the way that they sort of change from that sort of green with a real bright red midrib to this beautiful purple. And as soon as the light hits them, they get that sort of golden yellow colour,
and even the stems, the new growth in the stems is red. I mean, like we said with the other one, it's a hardy plant, but it gets a pretty big leaf. And if you get this form of Catanus, it's the nature of it, how it grows, that makes it fit in, I think. It makes it jungly, like it's coming out to get you.
Yeah, definitely,
That's why I love it. That's why it's a great hardy plant that fits your theme, you know what I mean?
I think you've persuaded me. As soon as I can find the space for it, that's one that needs to happen.
Yeah. And there's one or two that, you know, it's blocking the path. So you chop them off, but then it will start to grow.
Oh,
again.
yeah.
So,
you don't worry about chopping it back, do you?
You don't need to be frightened about getting the secateurs to it.
Oh, no.
No.
I mean, this area, it's full of, just everything you'd want a jungle garden to be. And heading through here, I think let's look at like these supersized plants. I mean, the Musa now, Musa basjoo, that is huge now, isn't it?
Yeah. I just hope that stem doesn't flower next year.
I hate to say it, but
the Petasitis giganteus was a big mass here, but they're giving up. They're saying like, okay, I want to go to sleep now.
Yeah.
But this, but then I enjoy this now.
Yeah. Oh, this is one we spoke about earlier in the year. He's got a lovely sort of subtle scent to it.
Yeah, I quite enjoy that when I'm walking up and down.
How would you describe that scent? Are you just going to say Persicaria scent?
Yeah, I can't. Some people might hate the smell of it, but I like it.
Let's smell it. Ooh.
I don't think you want. It's one of those scents that it's nice to, out in the open air to get a whiff of as you walk past. You think, ooh.
Yeah. I see that.
You wouldn't want to smell it for a long time.
No, it's very sort of like just like a subtle floral scent. I can say there's a sort of get out. I don't really know how to describe it.
No, I don't know. But this is Persicaria wallichii.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you can really see now at this time of year, you know, the plants that these Persicarias want to be. That's 6 foot now. It's a big plant.
If it was upright, it would.
Oh yeah, well over that height, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Petasitis obviously not spreading quite as vigorously as it could have done. Oh yes, look at that. That's what a comeback. That is really sort of
it's amazing.
Glossy, healthy now, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, it's got the two. There's another one down there. There's one. That's a new one. There's one at the back, and there's another one coming. So it's really coming back with a vengeance, isn't it?
Do you know what I used to find this when I had more houseplants out in the garden? It's always that back in the year, isn't it? When they've had the warmth, they've got all that moisture in the air, and that's suddenly like there's about a month when they go mad, isn't there?
Yeah.
And wow,
but that's really look at that. I mean,
incredible.
that's really good size now, isn't it?
I got in trouble for calling this one a philodendron or philodendron last time because it's now a
bipinnatifidum.
That one, we're basically making the same noise we did last time again, but
it's one of them.
It's one of those.
One of them with a tender plant with giant leaves that fits in your jungle a treat.
It really does.
Perfect.
Obviously, as we head back through the garden, we'll see some plants that I personally hadn't heard of, but as we walk through here now, this magnolia, this is definitely taking its place in the garden, isn't it?
Getting flower buds on
flower
it as well.
buds, yeah.
Look, it's got a couple. It had one in spring, and there's another one here. So
I do like the big leaf.
I bought it as a stick, virtually about 3 foot tall, quite a few years ago, and it's took a while to get into its own. But it obviously wants to sprawl widthways.
Oh yeah. But you can do, can't you? If it gets another couple of feet taller, so lanky people like me can stride in.
It'd be quite good if it actually grew up and made an arch across to the shed roof. I could live with that.
Yeah. Oh, well, amazing that would, wouldn't it?
Here's a problem plant. This is and it'll be binned. Look, it's Brugmansia sanguinea. And
what is happening to that there?
I don't know. Well, some of them do that, and it's very.
How many cuttings has Rodger had off
No,
this?
it's not that.
It looks like it's had hundreds of cuttings
I
off it.
had one before that did this.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, it's in the same place, so it's making me wonder now. Because this did flower last year somewhere else.
The leaves have gone really funky, haven't they?
It's horrible. It's really a mess. So we'll be binning that one. It's just, and it hasn't flowered. No, it's just gone horrible. So that's one for the bin. But, you know, And
These things happen, don't they?
Yeah, and this was
Oh dear,
amazing.
yes.
My cruel plant, or Rodger sativum, and it looked fantastic. And this year it's all grown right across because it's in sort of an evergreen, and it was amazing. And then in the process of bringing down this in sections the old greenhouse that we'd given to someone if they dismantled it, it's hit the thing.
Oh no.
The pipe's come out of itself there, and it yanked the bottom of the plant. And we tried shoving it in a pot of soil
to sort of aerate it,
but no, it's. I'll be very surprised if that comes back. So I'm gutted really, because it was really good this year, and it looks lovely and green. It did. Now it's going brown.
Well, that is one of the few sort of failures, if you like, isn't it?
Yeah, but we all have them. And not, I know we've been doing it for years, but we still get things wrong. I'm not cultivating bindweed, by the way.
It does look that way, doesn't it?
It does rather, yeah. No, it's actually a hardy Aristolochia, a little small-leaved one. So will
it be more sort of vigorous every year? So next year you'll get even. Hopefully,
I might end up taking it out. We'll see what it does. If it flowers, it'll be okay, but we'll see. And because I put a new. This is really getting its feet down. Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, I planted one of those this spring as well.
Almondii. Almondii.
That'll really fill that out, won't it?
Yeah, so I probably won't need that then.
No, it probably won't have a chance.
People might wonder why I'm
shine.
Cultivating bindweed otherwise.
And I mean, I love this time of year because you can really reflect on your borders, can't you? You can think what you want to change for next year.
Yeah.
But to me, look at this area here now, you've obviously got plants that have sort of finished their cycle,
if you like. Yeah, that's going to sleep now. Sinelicis, hardy plant. It was amazing when it comes out. There's remnants of a good leaf there, but it's dying back now. But the flowers are totally insignificant. You cut them off. But the foliage, and when you watch it coming through, it's quite it's like little ghosts coming up.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's interesting. But what I was going to say is like the begonias now, they are really sort of showing off, aren't they?
Yeah.
Begonia grandis. I can see a tosa in the middle there. Can I?
Yeah.
They are. I mean, they're a plant I started, propagating and planting a load of last year, I think, and I've got them popping up now, even in my muddy paths.
They go all over the place.
They're really amazing from sort of August to November.
This has come well this year. This is another. With one of the grandis popped in between it by the look of it. This one with marked leaves is a hardy one.
That's interesting. Do you know what, Shane Bilson, when I went around his garden, he gave me a little begonia with the same sort of spotting, and I think they're lovely, like a houseplant for outdoors, aren't they? Hardy houseplant. Yeah. On that note, aspidistra there.
Yeah, that stays there because it's pretty dry. They don't like being wet and things through the winter, especially. And
I know they're a favourite of a certain Philip Oostenbrink, aren't they? Who you went to see recently, and you purchased quite a few plants from him that we'll be seeing shortly. And what's this beauty here?
I love it. Pollia japonica, and it's supposed to be a hardy plant, and I don't know why. And Steve at Jersey Cottage, he didn't know why. I lost it last year because it should be hardy. So I put it in, got another one from him, and put it in a different place, and I absolutely love it. So I'll be gutted if it doesn't like it here, but something wasn't right for it down there where I had it last time. So fingers crossed. Yeah, it will be there again next year.
I just think that there's so many different layers to your garden, both sort of literally and figuratively. I mean, you've obviously got a lot of the big plants, so if you're just getting into your tropical style gardening, plants like the Musa basjoo, it really is a bit mind-blowing to see them get that size. And then the Tetrapanax, which, we featured earlier in summer, it is crazy. It's got a canopy that's about 12 foot tall, and I wouldn't even like to guess how many feet or metres it is wide. But with your garden, it's not just a sort of overtly tropical plants. It's a lot of these, like the Boehmerias, isn't it? And
stunning leaves.
All the different, impatiens.
Yeah. This is one I really love. Yeah. It's the Elschultzia. Flavor, however you say it. It will branch and get more. I thought I'd lost all mine, but then this sent up a stalk in the ground there.
I do like them. There's something, if you check out my video at Pan Global Plants, you'll see Nick Mace's introduced a couple there.
Yeah, that's where I got my original one from. I love that Boehmeria. This is one I got that from Pan Global the other year.
Is that Platanifolia, that one?
Yeah, but rotundifolia.
Oh, rotundifolia.
But it's lovely. I like it because it's so different to the others, but it's not as vigorous a grower.
No, I
it's
can
late
see.
to show, and it's just not a vigorous plant, but it is rather nice.
Obviously, I'm aware there's a sort of subset of tropical style gardeners that literally, if it's not a banana or a colocasia, it doesn't interest me. But then I think there's other people who, like myself, you get further in your journey and you think, yes, I've grown the sort of more overtly tropical stuff.
Yeah.
What's the next level of exciting foliage plants? And I mean, like here, the Hedychium.
Yeah.
Like a look at it as a night sky, isn't it? That one there. We've got the Boehmerias, which are a nettle relative. There's so many exciting foliage plants you can grow, which may or may not be hardy. On my last visit then, this border was a beautiful summary display of, you know, colour foliage plants, but now it's really gone to that next level of jungle vibes, hasn't it? It's huge. Over there, your little tree, the Tetrapanax, isn't it, that one?
Yes, Colourful Septem lobus maximovichii, which I was told was the form I should get if I could get one. And I eventually did. I did wait a long time. And it's not always going to be so little either.
No, that is something where, again, I saw it in Shane's garden, that it has the potential to be a tree, doesn't it, long term?
Definitely.
But it's cool seeing it in spring. That was stood up. You could really appreciate that spiny
you could
stem,
see it
couldn't
all,
you?
couldn't you then? And when it was first flashing its leaves out, it was stunning, really. It's, you know, some plants you get to appreciate more at certain times of year. At the moment,
You really do.
It's just swamped in everything else, isn't it?
It is. Is this some orange Hedychium, this one?
Yeah,
that's obviously one of the earlier sort of flowering Hedychiums.
Yeah, it was reliably in a, oh look, I think it's trying to do another one, look.
Oh yes, have another go, isn't it?
And
Have another go.
There's a little flower, look.
Oh yeah. So that's what it looks like usually earlier in summer.
Yeah, it's a tiny one, but yeah.
Yeah. But that now is sort of gently past its best. It's still got all this amazing foliage, but up there's a Canna which I definitely associate with your garden.
Yeah.
Is that one Aemanii, that one?
It is, yeah.
It's got the most amazing cerise-coloured flowers. They're just absolutely
and they
beautiful,
dangle.
aren't they?
They're different, you know, whereas most of it on a stem, but these are sort of graceful.
They're very graceful, aren't they? And I think it used to be a really popular Canna, but more recently, I guess Cleopatra and Musa have been the ones that I've heard most people talk about. But that one definitely deserves its place in the exotic garden.
Yeah.
As do a lot of these Tithonias, and it's just such a riot of colour. Even now, as we're heading into October, well, not far ahead into October, it's amazing.
Megaeoli gongensis, first year I've put some along this border, and it's been growing happily and flowering.
Oh yeah, you can see the flower there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't seen before. Obviously I've seen pictures, but not in person.
Yeah.
It's very yellow, wasn't it? Usually they've got white, aren't they? But
yes, it's another one come in, and there's one gone over around there.
So this is one that I usually refer to in my videos as the other hardy Colocasia. So I avoid saying it.
Yeah.
But that one, I mean, that's fantastic. Something like that you can just leave in that comes up.
Yeah.
It's certainly great tropical interest, isn't it?
I did put, that's something, one of the outstanding things to me this year that I've learned, now that I've created so much shade, and I'm buying plants that are shade-loving plants.
Right.
But some of them aren't really doing ever so well, and I've realised that the amount of shade I think they want and the amount of light they actually want.
Yeah, this is it.
So some of my things are in too much shade and would be better, so they've got a bit more light but just not direct sunlight, which is getting to be a problem in this garden.
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, obviously gardening is part art, part science, isn't it? And you can obviously design a garden for 1 year and it looks great, but over the course of that season plants get bigger, and then the next year some of the plants that stay in the ground get bigger still, and it's a continuous sort of challenge. And especially in your garden where essentially so much of the planting is puzzle pieces that change every year,
you need to like a jungly effect, because that's what you're going to end up with a lot of these plants.
You do. That view over there, just seeing the path trail off into the distance, that really is a true jungle, isn't it?
The bamboo up there, suddenly you realise, when you're walking through, you don't realise how big things have got until you actually see them from a distance. And I can see that easily from the bedroom window now. And
I think you can see that from the other side of town out the windows, can't you? It really is. I know we've said it in videos before, but it is about different heights and that sort of structure, isn't it? So if you're walking past things, you want to have something, to me, that is visually interesting. So we've got here the Tithonia. Obviously that bee finds it very visually interesting there.
Yeah, we're not short of bees.
No, certainly not. It's great to see. You've got a lot of flowery interest, and I guess really a lot of the key foliage plants are at this kind of level. There's plenty to sort of see and absorb. Yeah. And then you've got the big leaves like the Tetrapanax, the bananas reaching over you, and then behind them we've got the huge bamboos and the acers. It really is such a botanical garden, to use a phrase that I heard on the phone earlier today.
Yeah.
There's so much going on, but there will be even more to come, as we can't not show people around here, can we?
Not really.
In the last video we did mention you were going to get a new greenhouse.
Yes.
And
Vicky's hard at work. You can see where it was. Yeah, so this one, the other one was 12 by 10. This one's 12 by 20.
12 by 20. Rodger was saying he couldn't believe the size of it, but
yeah, it kind of sticks out more than we thought. So there's a few alterations to go on here, because he used to store. We had composting bins behind there; they had to go. Hence the pile of manure around the corner.
Yes.
And he used to store a lot of his pots and plants that we sell on open days there. So they've all had to be put elsewhere temporarily. But then, of course, now next summer he hasn't got that space. So these willows on this side are coming down.
They're coming out.
So we're going to make that a place along there where he can store pots of plants there. And this section from the birch up to that greenhouse, I'm going to clear all that for him so he can use that for his plants.
I just think it's amazing that even in such an established, beautiful garden, you're willing to sort of, rip it up, change it again.
Yeah, and there's things
Rodger
on
loves
this.
it, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's things on this border that I'm thinking, okay, well maybe that can go, and I can use that space. And the same on the raised beds. I've got plants on there that I'm like toying with the idea of outing, because we've got so many other plants now that I could use it for, you know what I mean?
It is a continual obsession. No matter what your age or how many years you've been doing it, there's always something new to try growing, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which we'll see very soon. I mean, looking across here, that huge Miscanthus, or Teorana, is that lutarioriparius?
Yeah.
That is massive, isn't it? A runner, isn't it? But yours hasn't run too much just yet.
Well, we buried it in a bottomless ring, if you
right,
like.
okay.
Like putting a barrier around a bamboo.
Essentially, yeah.
But it's actually gone under it and still come up outside of it. So
do you know what? I've got one in a pot and it's crept out one of the bottom holes.
Yeah,
so a little bit of
it's
a
obviously
warning
is
there
a bit
to people.
harder to tame than some other plants.
But this is looking fantastic. Obviously, you've got professionals on the job. Rodger's been demoted to a simple tea boy, hasn't he?
Yep.
Not doing the best job of it, is he? But I bet he'll have this full in spring. No matter what size greenhouse you put in, it will be full.
Oh, it'll still get full, yeah.
No question about that.
Definitely.
And I mean, is it a Salvia? Is that
convertiflora? Convertiflora, yeah.
That really looks amazing now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I love the foliage on. Well, there's one there, that one, and there's some more here. It's a bit of this one.
Which is that one?
I don't know. This
Have
is
I asked
my
you
problem.
something now again?
Yeah.
I
don't know what it is. It came home from a holiday.
Oh, like so many of these plants.
Yeah, and I just love it. And I'm not really, until it flowers, you can't really be sure what it is. I mean, doesn't smell like a salvia, so is it some...
Your description for most of these smells is it smells or it doesn't smell like the plant that it is. So not helpful for people watching, but...
That smells like a salvia.
So it doesn't smell like hot lips.
No. So it's not, I don't think it's a salvia. It could be some form of giant plectranthus maybe.
I think some of them have been reclassified, aren't they? But
well, whatever
I'm a little bit behind the
plectranthus
times.
has been changed to, it's a giant form of one of those, I'm wondering. It has been suggested to me anyway. But
could well be.
Somebody who's a what would you call them, an expert on plectranthus may be able to enlighten me.
Feel free to chime in with your thoughts below.
Yeah.
Obviously salvias are something that they don't often do the thing really till late in summer, early autumn time, but they are well worth waiting for.
One of the latest things is this one here that's coming, a Leonotus. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's just starting to push through.
Everything else, I forgot it was there because that's got such a monster. Because I'm a devil in the spring when we're planting out. It's like, you don't know what anything's going to do exactly. And you don't want a gap there. And then you end up this. But that's always really, really late to flower. I mean, when you can buy them in flower earlier in the season. Yeah. And that's great. But from then on,
from the next year
it's going to be very late. But I enjoy it when it does perform. So.
No, it has been refreshing sort of visiting your garden a few times through the year, seeing that it is a continual experiment every single year. Yeah. You're still impatient when you see gaps there in spring.
Oh yeah, I don't.
It literally is something that every year is different. The weather's different, things grow differently.
I mean, this is going to go beautiful. It is lovely, big, bright yellow sunflowers, and I enjoyed seeing it. But it runs.
Right.
You try putting it over there, but I think it's gradually run forward to the sun. Yeah. And it's delightful because it just pops up between other things. But
which one is it?
I don't know, you see. It was
one of the mystery plants.
Yeah, it's another kind of Heliopsis, I imagine. And it runs like bilio. This poor thing, this is a Rebecca laciniata, but it actually is just because all the weather is gone. Well, it does that anyway.
Completely relaxed.
It really wanted a frame around it to hold it up,
Yeah.
which we didn't get around to doing.
Wow.
Hence, it's like that. But that's been lovely.
It's been fantastic, really seeing the garden evolve through the seasons. And I guess if you're talking about something for late season beauty, this Salvia concolor, is it this one?
Yeah.
That one.
That's a hardy one as well.
Yeah, hardy. I've got this outside and mine just grows, it grows incredibly tall, lanky to find its bit of sun, and now it's just starting to show the flower buds, but it's such an unusual bluey sort of...
Gorgeous colour.
Yeah, I do enjoy that one. That was Alan and Jane Score over at Winston that, yeah, I saw that there and thought, yes, I want to grow that one. No, it really is amazing to see, and I think we'll just walk back through the garden. Obviously, I just got to focus on that little Rubus lineatus there.
Yeah.
Just amazing
Gorgeous.
foliage, isn't
look
it?
Look at those. Just look. Just like silk, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are stunning.
Satin, silk, something like that.
It's, I guess, really.
Look at this. Oh, look.
Yeah.
Hung Fung stripe.
Hung Fung stripe. That is what they look like.
Hardy, great. Comes up, flowers, beautiful colour.
So if you grow your Assam orange or Gardnerianum and you want something different, this is definitely a sort of strong salmon colour, isn't it? So definitely fits in with that whole sort of tropical exotic look.
It does.
Works really well with cannas and other summer flowers. Fantastic choice there.
I think this is Greeny Eye's trying to perform, but I think we're going to run out of sunshine this year. It's I have seen it flower before in the ones we have up there in pots. I have seen it flower here. If you get a hot year, a hot summer.
Yeah, like 22 or whatever, it's going to flower, isn't it?
But no, I think that's probably going to get stopped in its tracks.
I remember seeing that down at, I think it was the Lost Gardens of Heligan down in Cornwall, and they have banks full of gingers, and just en masse, they just look really beautiful.
Yeah, I went. They had a smashing Tara as well, didn't they?
I'm not going to mention that again. Like I said, it's not my plan, that one, but
Painter's palette.
Yeah, it's that pink. It's just the pink.
You just don't like the pink. I have got the plain variegated one up the.
I'm open to a variegation. I know some people say that even cream and green is, it looks like it's been hit with weed killer, but to me, it's that little mixture of Mr. Blobby in it that just pushes it over the edge. It's not my thing, but there's something for everyone. Look, there's Cannas hiding, isn't there?
Yeah.
So we've got Cleopatra there.
It's all Cleopatra, but look, look at the leaves further down, but it's kind of just reverted to one colour there.
That's interesting, isn't it?
So yeah, the others were two-tone flowers. Now we've got this.
That really is
you never know,
isn't it?
Yeah, there's another one coming. Look, you never know what you're going to get with.
No, I mean it's been described. I think Steve, one of my last videos at Secret Gardens, he said it's a chimera, but I know the class is a stable mutation, aren't they? But you still get ones popped up like this where you can sort of see it changing from partially green and purple to then purple and
So that's all that mix all on one plant, you see.
It's tying so well with the Ricinus and these other bright pops of colour.
Yeah.
One plant you just draw my eye to down there, Pseudopanax.
Yeah, chainsaw.
Which the name for that should be reasonably obvious when you see those leaves in focus.
Yeah, I had one for a lot of years, a smaller plant than this. I got it as from Lower Carnegie.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Many years ago in Cornwall. And it grew up and it was 7 foot high and a massive clump, and it looked really smashing. And then December 22 came.
Oh, no.
And that was it. Gone.
Yeah.
And the other Pseudopanax trifoliatum, is it? I had a good size one of those.
And again, it's not quite
it's all
as
on
hardy.
the bed down there, so I've got a new one and put it up here. And
you roll the dice again, don't you?
Yeah, see how it goes.
You roll the dice. But I think we need to keep people, in suspense no longer, because up here you have bought quite a few new plants, haven't you?
Just a few.
Just a few, and I think people need to see them. So I personally find it just amazing that, obviously you and Rodger, I won't make any comments about your age, but after so many years of doing this kind of gardening, that you still find, or you still have the joy and passion for the new and exciting, and the fact that you're ripping the garden up to put in a bigger greenhouse really says it all. But there's plenty of new plants up here, isn't there, in terms of hardy plants and some experimental plants as well.
Yeah. Still a lot. We still keep getting things that I have to bring in, but I do try and buy more stuff that is hardier.
Yeah.
Can go out. But a lot of that. This one,
This is interesting.
Now I've had this loads of years, and I used to keep it in a pot. It's all I know is it's hibiscus. I don't know which one it is, and it was lovely. And somebody told me, oh, that should be hardy. And I got fed up with it in the pot. So stuck it in there, hope for the best. And then it's come back every year.
That's interesting, isn't it?
I really think it's such a pretty green. All the red stays in it. It's, you know, what's not to like?
Nice.
It doesn't need to flower.
I think when you've got a garden that's big enough like yours, you can really experiment with that sort of next level of plants where they're unusual, maybe not obviously tropical, but the weird and the wonderful, which is what
fit the theme though.
Of course they do, yeah. Well, the Solanic Achipurpureum,
that fits in with weird and wonderful.
It certainly does. Yeah, you can't say that without focusing on this. I mean, just look at the spice of some of those newer leaves now.
That one's nearly as tall as you, George.
Yeah, and I'm very wary of that. It's just about at eye level, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can just see it flowering there, but no one's looking at the flowers in that plant with those vicious inch-long purple spines sticking out of it.
Achipurpureum.
It is a vicious beauty and a beast in one.
Even the fruits are quite attractive. When they get bigger, I can see one there starting and they're...
Let's have a look. Oh, you can just...
they're quite fascinating when the markings on them. It's only tiny. Here's the Persicaria that you'll like more. Look.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Because it's not got the pink in it.
Yeah, it's not got that.
You don't do pink, do you?
I'm not.
Not in a Persicaria.
I won't like that. There's certain pinks that I appreciate, but it's that sort of that garish sort of pink. Yeah, almost like pink custard splashed or some other one.
I know.
You must surely forget how many plants you put in.
Yeah.
You can literally look at, you could take a square metre of your garden and then you think you know some of the plants in there, but then move some leaves out of the way and there's, that's another one of those.
That poor thing. It really doesn't want to be in here.
No, is that tender or is that?
I think it's supposed to be hardy, but I reckon we did take it in. If it stays out, it might grow stronger, but I'm getting to the point now where there's no point growing these things because I can't put them anywhere where they're going to grow well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a bit sad, really, because I like them.
But I mean, ultimately, a lot of the shade is created by your beauties up here, isn't it? And it really just blows my mind that when we came out here early in spring, you could see right through here. Yeah. There was just that sort of sole Trachycarpus over there, bit of evergreen interest, but now it's just a wall of leaves, isn't it? It really is amazing, and I think it shows that you don't have to choose a garden to be a summer garden or a spring garden or an autumn garden or really sort of go too far in the evergreens. You can have a mix of everything as long as you're prepared to put in about 25 hours a day into keeping it up, can't you?
Yeah. I think it's when I look round here, I was just thinking the fronds on this.
Oh, yeah.
On this, look.
Wow, that is a healthy tree.
That poor plant under there, look.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I think I might. I think I might dig that out and put it somewhere else and let it flow. It has tried though. Look, it pushed. It's an anemone, and it did manage to push up.
No, it's just forced its way through in one little spot
and try to flower, which look quite cute, really. When little. I quite like these little blobs of colour in my greenery, just here and there. But I was thinking, it's such a small one,
beautiful, isn't it?
And big. Long fronds.
I've literally got the sort of, it came from the same batch as this one, and again, it's got huge fronds, probably similar to yours, if not
beautiful.
A little bit longer. I might say out to competitiveness, but no, let's be honest, yours looks amazing.
But I'm thinking it's a good job we're getting rid of all this grass. The plan is for next year to have this. We've got a different something other than grass underfoot.
Oh, does Rodger know about that yet?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Is he doing all the digging, or are you getting people in to do it? No,
that clever guy down there.
Ah, right.
Hopefully, unless he says I ain't doing that now.
Not when he sees the true scale of what you got planned.
The Delevii is flushed like mad. Look.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was about to walk past that.
Yeah.
So
it's been flushing all season.
That really is a Schefflera over there, an incredible beauty to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just love the sort of, I guess it's really like a glossiness, but also that green is so like pale, isn't it?
Yeah,
I bet under the moonlight that just really stands out, doesn't it?
I used to have a big, I know the name's changed, but I can't remember. This is Neopanax latus, is what I have.
Correct, that's what I'd know it as, but yes, it might have changed.
It has. And I had a plant that grew into a lovely tree up there near the shed where the big bananas were. And a winter killed it off. I got this one. I got it from Steve actually at Thwaite.
Ah, right, okay.
And it was a decent sized plant when I put it there, but it's really going for it now.
Yeah.
And I loved the flowers on it as well. So maybe
I try to show people over the top.
Yeah.
You can see, obviously, it's very much
it's an evergreen,
a subtle flower.
and I love those.
Wow. It is a lovely shrub. I've heard of people saying they're hardy to about -5 or so, but I expect it's maybe a little bit tougher than that, maybe.
Well, it was Beast from the East that got it
Right, okay.
up there.
Yeah.
It had been fine before, so I thought if I put this one over here, it's not on that east border, and it's very well sheltered because, you know, you can use other evergreens to give some protection, can't you, to what's growing there. So hopefully it'll carry on growing really well, but it is growing really well now. And of course my other fig tree, my ice crystal, is just, you know, it's deciduous, you know, it's a shame that there's no leaves like that in the winter, but yeah, it's gradually creeping up. Probably again with a curved stem because it's fighting to get to the light.
Like everything here,
this
isn't
is
it?
me, isn't it?
Obviously, anyone else who comes to this garden, you'd say, what's your main battle? And it's watering and feeding. But I guess for you, being the sort of key planter in this partnership, is it a case of finding plants that can actually thrive in the conditions that you've now got? Is that your biggest challenge?
Yeah, and I'm constantly learning about that as well, to be quite honest. You know, I put things in, and like that pollia, it was in here and it didn't come back the next year. So, okay, so I got another one. I've tried it down there. I won't put it back in the same place.
What, this Boehmeria here?
This is not a Boehmeria.
Is it not? Do you know what?
We grew these this year.
Yeah, I can see it isn't now. I can see further down it.
Yeah, it's a Laportia.
Laportia. I wouldn't know what that is.
We grew them from the little bulbils we bought.
Right.
And it's supposed to be a hardy plant, but look at the foliage.
Do you know what? That's the reason. It's got a beautiful sheen to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I was thinking it's like, it looks like the late afternoon sun is really lighting it up, but there isn't any sun. It's just
I grew
what it looks
quite
like.
a lot of them and stuck them in down there filling gaps, but now I've got a load of new Boehmerias, so I've put them. But this works equally as well.
It's got, I guess what professional planting would call an exquisite pearlescence to the leaves, but I'll just call it a nice sheen, like petrol that's spilt in a forecourt. But I really do like that.
But it's really good.
And then this is the...
And it was dead easy. It grew from the little bulbils.
Is this the infamous Brazilian shield down here?
Strobilanthus, yeah. So that's suddenly got bigger, and so you see it there more now. And I've got this creeping up here this year. I usually have it over that bamboo archway, but it hasn't done so well over there this year. Looks anything that twines looks jungly.
Anything that twines always looks jungly, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
wow. And I mean, just before we head and see your latest extravagant purchase, that view, it is just amazing how this is transformed from... You must look forward to seeing it every single year. I know you open in August, but when do you think this looks best? Is it in August?
Towards the end of August,
When
end of August, and everything. It's usually, well, you think it stopped growing, but to be honest, I think some things are carried on through September, you know, because we are quite late. So if it had been sort of early September, it'd probably be, just a bit... not like it's getting out of hand, do you know what I mean?
There is a moment, isn't there, when everything just works. So a lot of the conventional flowering plants, they look fantastic, July, August, early September maybe. The jungle plants just keep on growing right till the end of the season, don't they?
They do.
And there is a point where some of these plants do start to fade and fall over, as we looked at, but personally I love it now. I just think when everything's big and boisterous and a little bit more untidy than you might like, but I just think it's incredible, just the size of everything. Yeah,
I think this is, if the sort of, if jungle garden is your idea, don't be too OCD with your tidiness.
You can't be, can you?
But I agree that when everything is smaller, how can I put it? When everything is big and like this, it almost looks natural that it is like this, a bit messy and a bit daft, you know. But when everything is smaller, I was exactly the same, that you know, you wanted it all to look perfect. And it's like you kind of grow into this over the years that, do you know what? I really don't need everything pristine.
No,
and even though we open, my garden has to be like the house. It's got to be sort of lived in.
Yeah.
You know.
Completely.
It's no good if you're a person who likes everything very tidy, put away, minimalist. Don't go for this style.
No, absolutely not. But like in everything, there's room for balance, isn't there? Yes. There's room for progression, evolution, and there's certainly room for some new purchases. So as we pass this gorgeous pond, The koi, obviously not expecting me to feed them today, but they're still looking very happy indeed. Again, all your succulents, the arid plants, or the ones that Mark didn't buy anyway, are still looking fantastic.
Oh, we've got all my spikies except for that one.
Oh, apart from the Gemniflora that I now know.
Yeah, I knew it began with G.
Yeah. I always have fun trying to put the plant names to your videos. Bit of a test for me. I mean, the bromeliad theatre, as we might call it. I think that's one of Mark's names. That looks fantastic as ever. And I'll just have a quick look at them because, you know, why not? What are you going to do with these in winter?
They'll all end up on a table in the conservatory like they did last year. Although I think there's a few more now than there was last year. So
I think there might be more than a few more. It's amazing. And I think when you get into this in the first place, it's easy to go down sort of rabbit holes, isn't it? And go, oh, I like this group of plants. Yeah. But then you get to the end of sort of October and you think, right, how am I going to deal with them all?
Because we've got an awful lot of these now, and we've got a lot of begonias as well. So that'll be like the whole side near the window there. Was where they went last year, just full of these and begonias.
Organisation is definitely going to be key, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is the Hung Fung stripe again, isn't it?
Yeah.
That really is beautiful. I think ginger's one of those plants that they haven't quite reached the same level of popularity as salvias have they in terms of mainstream, how available they are. But I think they certainly deserve to be, particularly if winters are going to get milder, summer's warmer. They're a fantastic flower. It's just so full, lush, everything's incredibly healthy. You've even got your little bananas there, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That poor stem.
You can't see them now.
They can hardly see them.
Now, isn't it? It's trying to, I'm not quite sure what's happening there.
They're definitely a novelty, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, that leaf from a pup has come up and gone through, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's sort of cut through, hasn't it?
Can't see it now.
But I think we need to walk through this way and see, I guess, some of these new purchases and which of the plants in this area now that are really grabbing you. So you said you've recently joined the Hardy Plant Society. I have. Yeah, which is, near treacherous, isn't it, for an exotic gardener?
For all these, but like I said, I'm trying to put more plants to the garden that I like the foliage and various foliage. And I saw this one. Look at the shape, how the leaves sit on that.
So to me, that looks like some of the tender Scheffleras, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's
in terms of leaf shape.
It's a hardy plant. It doesn't get. I don't think it gets massively tall. I haven't looked into it yet. But probably something like a couple of foot. But yeah, what's not to like about that? And this time of year, if it's a mature plant, it'd have white berries in the middle there, apparently.
Right, okay.
And it's called bipinnatifidum.
Well, that is certainly not one that I've heard of.
I'm quite looking forward to seeing that. This is one of my Boehmerias that I've been getting recently, and this is Boehmeria cylindrica.
Yeah, very sort of deeply grooved leaves, aren't they, in that one?
I just love that. Look at all the detail in those. It's very thick and hardy.
It's easy for people to go, they're just nettle relatives, it's sort of Emperor's New Clothes, I don't like that. But to me, when you get into them, when you start to see the sizes of them, the different leaf shapes, I think they're really interesting.
Yeah, I like them. This, that's common as muck really, but it's tough as old boots as well. So that's Tithonium horsefieldii. So while I had chance of a reasonable price, I got another pot full of that to stick in because I like it. Look how it grows.
So there's absolutely no reason why, if you want the garden and you want the tropical or jungle or exotic, just interesting plants, you can have things that don't need overwintering. You can have things that will survive every year regardless of how cold it gets. And the balance between sort of tender and hardy is entirely up to you.
Understory plants, so you can have your big solid things, whether be they evergreen or not, but it's nice to have carpet of green underneath as well.
Absolutely.
And
there's some more banana. These have certainly appeared since I came here last.
Yeah, well, we've bought a couple of these, as I know several people have now. The Ever Red.
Yes, I saw Paul at Linden. He was selling them.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of those to see if it actually does what it says on the tin and says.
Do you know what? I suspect it's
one of those. I suspect it won't. But
yeah, I don't know enough about it, but
they weren't too expensive, so we're prepared to give it a go.
Obviously, it's a Sycamensis, but particularly red form, isn't it?
Yeah.
A few years ago, or maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, Jungle Seeds were selling a red form of Sycamensis, weren't they? Yeah. But I don't know how different they are.
My one down there is a Sycamensis. It's supposed to be red tiger, but it looks like a basjoo now. You know what I mean? But
they do fade as they get bigger. bigger, don't
but
they?
they're pretty much as tough as a basjoo, aren't they? And you know, some of the begonias, I know they're tender. This one is, but you know, if you're bringing them out on the patio, massive leaves.
There's been a few new ones,
funny,
hasn't there?
This was in a garden centre fairly locally. We just dropped in as we was passing, and we came out with this, and it's a great big plant in a pot, and it was about £9.99. And I thought, well, yeah, we'll take that home, and straight away you've got impact with it.
To me, this year, that's one of the sort of more exotic plants that's really sort of broken through, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There's just, I think there's is it sterling moon? I can't remember the different varieties, but Mark's got them. Shane has some. He actually gave me one as a present, and there's just so many of these big leaf begonias that are really surprisingly hardy.
One of my plants that I've had for a couple of years now.
Ooh, this is a special one.
Let's look, can you see that?
Yeah,
Schefflera nova.
Wow, that's a tender Schefflera, is it?
It is, yeah. Look at that.
Isn't that the most bizarre Schefflera you've seen? That is so unusual, isn't it?
You know what I mean? The way they go, it reminds you of the Pseudopanax chainsaw, only in giant form, doesn't it?
Giant chainsaw, yeah.
It's an Aurelia. It's all off there, but
that's bizarre.
And I thought I'd lost this Cyathea. It was, I think it's changed name, tomentosa. Tomentosa.
I think it's now a form of cupri, isn't it? Maybe, but
with this very ginger thing, I thought I'd lost it, but then I haven't.
And obviously, when you talk about weird leaves, the Cassonias, that's one that in spring or maybe even the summer episode, it was just a sea of these red new growths trying to open up, and now it's a huge, great big plant. And in fact, there's one that I've walked right past up there, the huge Brassaiopsis in the distance. Looks absolutely amazing, doesn't it? The one over there next to your arch.
Oh, Dumicola.
Dumicola.
Yeah. Again, that was just growing like straight up on a stick.
Yeah.
And then the same winter, nipped the top out of it, and it's branched, and now it looks a fantastic tree.
It really does.
Looks lovely. Of course, one that I got, I don't know if it's last year, maybe year before last, I can't remember now. It was a young plant, the Brassaiopsis fatsioides.
Oh yes.
There, and it's getting a bit, bit that's raised up there, so it's getting a bit of a trunk on it now.
It's a beastie. I remember seeing that one of Shane's and thinking, wow, yeah, those leaves are something else, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I can't talk about leaves being something else without looking at your most precious.
Most precious. Well, I've got two most precious, haven't I?
Well,
but this is my latest.
Let's look at the latest one first.
The latest most precious. This is just, I've wanted one of these for years, and they're just not available. And then, long story short, it came up on eBay, and it happened to be being sold by somebody I knew, so I trusted.
Yeah.
And it's the snowflake Aurelia.
Which is
just
absolutely
and when you see
amazing,
it when it gets bigger, we've seen them in the garden at Great Dixter, and leaves that are humongous and dark, shiny green, so when that gets older, it's going to look amazing. And
I've got to say, there's obviously different flavours of plants to different people, but really
Traphesia palmata, Mitchell Eatsii.
That's the one. I mean, just seriously, that is going to be one of the most spectacular plants you can grow.
This is another one of these this year. I had one once, it was very small, and we lost it. It's a bit temperamental. It's not easy to keep over winter. But
is it a form of the palm grass, is it?
It's Sataria type thing, but it's a much more, this one, Rosea variegata, but the one I bought before was under a different name.
That's a
strange name, but basically
something different, that isn't
it? But it is a tender plant, really. That won't be staying out here. That'll go in the house somewhere.
So I guess now, obviously, Rodger started to take over in terms of propagation.
Oh yeah, he's got about 1,200 cuttings in all now. The rest are down in the bottom greenhouse.
Anyone else says about 1,200, especially Mark, I would think, no, you haven't. But Rodger, I believe it when you say 1,200. And I know, just look around your garden, you see a brugmansia, you think, wow, it's about to flower again, and Rodger just sees 50 cuttings, doesn't he?
Yeah.
At this time of year. But this is one of his real triumphs, isn't it? Yeah. Spiral ginger, flowering away. I mean, I just find it incredible.
Can't believe how big it's
that you not only grow plants that need to be overwintered inside, but you're actually growing plants that just stay inside all year as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've got euphorbias. There's this bizarre purple euphorbia over there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Alocasias. And here, he's running away now, isn't he? He doesn't want to be featured. I can see you, Rodger. Here is a plant that we were both talking about before we started filming. This is Musa Cyan Ruby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which used to be about 50, 60 quid to buy a plant, and you sort of got what you got. But now, this one here, well, that shows you, £12.50 at B&M.
Yeah.
And you got 2 in the pot, didn't you?
There was 2 in the pot and he split it, yeah.
He just can't resist it, can he?
No.
If he sees a chance to propagate something, no matter how
We've got
rare
a bigger
it is,
one outside that we
propagate it.
bought last year, but
Yeah.
you know, okay, someone might say, well, why do you want those? But why not at that price? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
And
crazy.
this is obviously a plant I brought you today, which came from Linden Nurseries. Paul, a lovely, healthy waggy. He's got a load there that are a nice big size, ready to plant out.
Yeah.
But in return, you've given me a couple of presents, so I'll show them here before I take them, and they look sufficiently worse for wear in a year's time.
No, they won't.
No, I'm sure they won't. So this is essentially one of the walking stick bamboos, Chimona bambusa, but this one, instead of being Tum medicinoda, is quadrangularis. Yeah, said the hard bit, but messed up the easy bit.
And a variety called Soa.
This is a very rare bamboo that I might have room for, hopefully. And it's a really striking, almost like the Huangwentu inversa, isn't it, with the yellow and green stripes, but on the walking stick bamboo. So thank you very much for that. It is a runner, so if you get any Chimona bambusa, put a barrier in, unless you've got acres.
And it was a stupid impulse buy. I really didn't know the bamboo. I didn't even register the name when he wrote it out, when he gave it to me. I bought it down at a plant fair because it was just so pretty, shining green. Yeah,
I know where it goes, yes.
And I didn't really know what I was buying then. And I'm thinking, oh, that looked lovely in a barrel, in a container. Yeah. But of course, now I realise, now I understand more about it. And it's never going to perform to its best in any sort of container.
No.
If it did, it would be very short term. So it's better it goes to George's and fits in with his, because I haven't got anywhere to dig a big enough gap.
I'm not sure I have, but I'll try
put a barrier around, you know.
No. Then you
At least if you stop it going through your neighbours, a barrier along one side.
Yeah, you can always do that, can't you? So then at least there's only you battling it.
Because if your jungle is as jungly as you'd like it, it won't matter if it pops up here and there in a way,
I do have limits, But, I mean, there's so many amazing plants in here. This is before you started to think about overwintering, isn't it? Oh, yeah, these are just in here. Some stuff we've had to bring up here because we took the old greenhouse down. Right, okay. And of course, I've got some more new Boehmeria. Of course you have. So let's have a quick look at those. I don't know how long this video is, but we might as well show them to people. This one, and don't ask me all the names. And to some people, they can all look just the same, but I'm learning to recognise that some of these are plants that were from the greenhouse. I like this one because it's got lovely red petioles. That's a variegated one. I bought this as well, spicata, which I rather like. Again, a smaller leaved one. So if you're a fan of Boehmeria's, Philip Ostenring is the man to speak to, isn't he? He is. I'll put a link to his book in the description below, because it really is a fantastic, logical and exciting exploration of the jungle style of planting here in the UK. Yeah. This is a hardy plant. Look at that. Yeah, that's really exciting. It gets really tall. Big leaves, nice angular stem. Look at the shape of them, angular stem. It gets some yellow daisy flowers on the top, which me personally, I'm not interested in. And what is that one? And it is Verbicina microptera. Wow, there we go. So, and I bought that recently when I went down to Philip's Jungle Day down near Bedford. Anyone down that end of the country. I spoke to someone. Yeah, I suppose. Is it Newbury Farm Plants you went to? That's it, yeah. I mean, I didn't know it existed, and it's got lots of trouble. So anyone that end of the country, I spoke to somebody on the phone, something to do with my garden, and he lived down there. He said, really? I didn't even know that was there. So, yeah. Wow. I just find it incredible that, with the amount of plants that's already in your garden, you're still looking for more and adding more exquisite beauties to your collection. There's just no hope for me. No, he's definitely terminal, isn't it? Yeah, you're not getting out of this one. It's just endless, isn't it? But in the best way possible. And I would say, if people have enjoyed this series of videos, definitely follow your Facebook page, because you sell a lot of plants through the year, don't you? Yeah. And they are always at very reasonable cost, always very healthy plants. And that is a great way that I can help support you, and also maybe get the chance to visit your garden next year. But I think we need to finish on, if there was one plant in your garden that is your pride and joy, which is that plant? I think we're going to be heading outside, and I think we're going to be heading to the left, aren't we? Yeah. Well, the new one is, because that was definitely what do you call it?
Oh, bucket list plant.
bucket list
my holy
plant.
grail, because I never thought I'd find it. But this was one I came across at Great Dixter in 2019. They were just planting all the Aurelia stuff out. That's just something else growing through it. Oreopanax dactylifolius. Unless it's changed names. And it was a small plant when I bought it. Did have 2 stems, and now it's like a small tree looking a pretty large pot now. And again, that was I had to have one. I was emailing Great Dixter and say, well, Dino, where did you get it? And it was a guy called Dino Pellizzaro. And his very last plant fair in the UK, thanks to Brexit, was in October 2019. And he brought some of these over and I got one.
Oh, wow.
And
I know we have featured it before in a previous video, but I just think it's amazing that you've got a garden full of all these incredible plants. But although you enjoy them all, that doesn't satiate the need for, ever more exciting, unusual plants.
No.
Regardless whether they're shrubs, trees, ferns, bananas. Yeah. There really is absolutely everything here. So, I mean, I've got to say, massive thank you to you, Jenny, and Rodger as well for letting me film these videos. And I hope people leave comments, for yourself. I mean, to me, your garden really is one of the most amazingly planted, tropical style, exotic. I wouldn't really call it a jungle garden because it's got a bit of everything, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's just got a jungly-ish. It's like a jungly-ish, this time of year, definitely a tropical rainforest site.
Tropical rainforest. That really is the sort of key phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love the mixture of plants, and to be honest, any experienced plantswoman or woman could spend hours just looking for every border. There's certainly surprises and treats, just everything you could possibly imagine. So really, thank you very much for your time. And if everyone heads to your Facebook page, I'll link to it in the description below. They can find out how they can visit next year. Are you aiming for August again next year?
Yeah, Thursdays and Sundays in August. We've already registered it with the National Garden Scheme.
Excellent. So there we go. If you're around the Lincolnshire area or you want to make a day trip of it, I'd highly recommend coming here, checking out the incredible garden. You might find a plant or 2 to buy as well, and also get some lovely tea and cakes once that gets cleaned out again for yet another year of this absolute insanity.
Yeah, so, the tea room turns into a greenhouse for winter.
Yeah, it really has been fascinating seeing it develop through the year, and I'm so pleased that there are no signs of it stopping. This video isn't the finale. This is very much that was one year. Now let's look ahead, bigger greenhouse, even more plants. What have they done
now?
There we go. So thank you very much, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. See you later.